The Hells Angels are one of the world's most notorious outlaw motorcycle gangs, founded in California in 1948. They are known for violence, drug trafficking, and other criminal activities. Let's take a look at 10 of the most dangerous members of the Hells Angels. Number 10. George Wethen. George Wethen was a former member of the Hells Angels Oakland chapter and became vice president due to his friendship with President Sonny Barger. His involvement in crime began when 3 bodies were discovered on his property near Ukiah, California. George turned state witness and received immunity for disclosing the location of the bodies. He later wrote a book titled Wayward Angel: The Full Story of the Hells Angels. Number 9. Alan Pissarro. Alan Pissarro's reputation stems from the infamous incident at the Altamont Free Concert in 1969. The Rolling Stones had hired the Hells Angels for security. As the Stones played, a scuffle broke out near the stage. Pissarro was seen on film lunging at Meredith Curly Hunter Jr., who had drawn a gun. Hunter was stabbed, and he passed away due to his injuries. The footage played a crucial role in Pissarro's trial, where he was acquitted on the grounds of self-defense. Number 8. Paul Aichide. Paul Aichide led a double life. In daytime, he was a stockbroker, a profession that typically doesn't align with the outlaw biker lifestyle. However, his involvement in the murder of Yvonne Garcia in 2001 exposed his darker side. After the crime, Aichide didn't stick around to face the consequences. He fled the US and managed to evade authorities for a decade. Number 7. Michael Genest's involvement in the Lennoxville Purge is one of the darkest chapters in Hells Angels history. In 1985, tensions within the gang led to a brutal internal purge in Quebec. 5 members from the Laval chapter were executed. Genest played a key role in this massacre. Despite the gravity of his crimes, he was granted full parole in 2010. His release raised eyebrows, given the severity of his actions and the life sentence he had initially received. Number 6. James Brandes. As vice president, James was deeply involved in the gang's criminal activities. He had a reputation for violence and was involved in several crimes, including drug trafficking and racketeering. His most notorious act was the attempted murder of San Jose Police Department Sergeant John Crack in 1977. Despite his many run-ins with the law, he was never convicted of these crimes. Number 5. David Carroll. David was a dangerous individual in the Canadian underworld. As a member of the elite nomad chapter of the Hells Angels in Quebec, he was involved in a lot of criminal activities. Carroll was charged with multiple murders but managed to evade conviction each time. His whereabouts in later years became a mystery, with rumors suggesting he had fled to countries without extradition treaties with Canada. Number 4. Michel Langlois. Michel Langlois was a key figure in the Hells Angels. Born in 1946, he was involved in the Lennoxville massacre in 1985. After the massacre, he fled the country for 2 years but eventually returned to face charges. He was convicted as an accessory after the fact to murder and served a 2-year prison sentence. Later, he was involved in drug trafficking and was sentenced to 5 years in prison in 1998. Number 3. Robert Mora Robert was the leader of the Dirty Dozen motorcycle gang in Arizona. In the late 1970s, when the Hells Angels sought to establish a presence in Arizona, he and his gang were patched over to become Hells Angels. Robert was known for his brutality and was convicted of manslaughter in 1980. He was also involved in various illegal activities, including drug distribution and counterfeiting. Number 2. Yves Trudeau admitted to committing 43 murders between 1973 and 1985, making him one of the most prolific murderers in Hells Angels history. He was also involved in several high-profile murders and bombings. Trudeau later became a government informant after the Lennoxville massacre in 1985 and was granted parole in 1994. However, he was later arrested for sexually assaulting a young boy. Number 1. Maurice Boucher. Maurice Boucher was involved in various criminal activities from a young age. In 1987, he became a member of the Hells Angels Montreal chapter and quickly rose through the ranks. Boucher was involved in a violent biker war in Quebec that resulted in over 162 deaths. He was convicted of ordering the murders of 2 corrections officers and was sentenced to life in prison. Well, what are your thoughts on these Hells Angels? Let us know in the comments. That's it for today's video. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos.